Dan Rather. High-tech learning tools for your kids tomorrow on This Morning. Experience CBS News.
KMOV TV for St. Louis. Thanks for choosing News for St. Louis at 6.
When the Hilltop residents leave, we are left here with a sprawl mall for a neighbor and an unresolved traffic problem.
Our top story, opponents of an on-again, off-again Olivet Shopping Mall prepared to face the city and developers in tonight's public meeting. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, residents will be getting their first look at revised plans for a shopping center in Olivet.
The developers want to build that mall at the intersection of 170 and Olive. The deal was declared dead 2 weeks ago. Laurie Waters reports the rebirth of the plan is rekindling a controversy.
I've been here 47 years. I bought it from my parents.
2 weeks ago, Tom Todd was crushed to hear the buyout he and about 300 of his neighbors had been expecting for 2 years had fallen through. Now that it could be back on, he's cautious.
I'm going to be pessimistic. I'm afraid it's not going to go through, but I really want it to.
City council meeting
2 weeks ago, Melanie Osborne was elated. Her fight against the Walmart and Sam's seemed victorious.
When the Hilltop residents leave,
now
we are left here with a sprawl mall for a neighbor and an unresolved traffic problem.
Developers salvaged their deal when they agreed to drop demands to take Chevys and land south of Olive, promised to pay for traffic improvements with the sales tax from the mall, and most importantly, guaranteed Sam's and Walmart as tenants.
The city's position is that we're going to proceed very cautiously. We do not have a signed redevelopment agreement that both parties have signed off on.
2 commercial sites would be taken, Airmasters and Beckman's.
We've been here for 90 years, Laurie, and we're not going away gently.
Hilltop residents know the developers have nearly a year to decide whether or not to proceed, but they're willing to take the risk.
Even if this deal doesn't go through, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to have to stay here, and we're still going to be losers for a long time.
Nicest plants.
Opponents hope for another miracle reversal.
We're kind of just a pawn and in limbo.
Proponents want to move on.
We did not go looking for a development. The development came to us.
They'll all come together tonight.
I never speculate on situations like this.
And no vote will be taken at tonight's meeting. This is just the public's first chance to take a look at the proposal and to ask questions. Now, regarding the committee to repeal the tax increment financing, the city says since technically there's no deal at this point, there's no TIF, and therefore the referendum is illegal. So committee members say they plan to ask the city council to use its authority to put the issue on the ballot, and we will just have to see how all of this plays out tonight. The meeting starts in about an hour, and residents have already begun to pack the meeting room. Larry and Julius?
And Laurie will be there covering it, so everyone at 10 o'clock can see just how it went, and it may still be underway at that point.
That's right.
Laurie Waters reporting.
We turn now to other news where we find that Illinois authorities are cracking down on Metro East bars that let minors in. The move comes after last weekend's shooting death of a 17-year-old outside this bar in East St. Louis. 4 other juveniles were wounded in that incident. Illinois State Police say inspections will be increased. Bars could also be told to close earlier. No one has been arrested for that weekend shooting.
Well, the grandson of a murder victim is making a plea on behalf of his grandfather's killer. James Michaels III is asking Missouri Governor Carnahan to spare the life of David Leisure. Leisure is scheduled to be executed September 1st for the 1980 car bombing death of James Michaels Sr. In a letter to the governor, Michaels' grandson says the execution would bring hardship to both families involved.
A formal Air Force investigation is now underway into that mid-air collision of 2 F-15 fighters in south-central Missouri. Meantime, F-15 pilots with the 131st Fighter Wing returned to routine training exercises today for the first time since the accident occurred last Thursday. Commander Bob Edmonds suspended operations to give pilots and crews the chance to refocus and concentrate on their missions.
It's natural to stop your operation, think about what happened, relook at all our processes and our operations, and see if we can do, if there's anything we can do to be safer.
Investigators are expected to arrive at the crash site in Shannon County, Missouri tomorrow. After the planes collided, one pilot ejected safely, but his F-15 crashed and burned. The second pilot was able to return to St. Louis. The investigation is expected to last about 30 days.
The St. Louis Public School Board has a new member. The mayor appointing Paulette McKinney to fill a vacancy on that 8-member board. She is a graduate of St. Louis Public Schools. McKinney will serve until the year 2003.
And St. Louis Mayor Clarence Harmon is talking about a new study that ranks St. Louis as one of the worst cities in America for children. The group called Zero Population Growth gives St. Louis an F for the quality of life it provides children. Now, the group looked at 7 categories, including education and health and public safety. But his honor says his focus is on goals for the future, not studies of the past.
That means that the achievement levels that you speak to will rise, and that the overall lot of the kids who are students in the St. Louis public school system will, as a consequence, rise to the extent that they, in the system, will be competitive with its sister systems across the community.
Study says that poverty, teen pregnancy, and urban sprawl have been the biggest impacts on kids' quality of life.
This year, school activities in Webster Groves could be cut or severely curtailed if teachers decide to cut out the extras.
Now, Webster Groves teachers say they are among the lowest paid in the region. Lisa Smith reports the Webster Groves teachers are threatening to do only what they're paid to do.
As an elementary music teacher, Marsha Hansen takes a lot of extra time preparing for her school year. Extra time she isn't paid for. But next week, Webster Groves teachers will take a vote to stop the extras, and that could stop the music.
We'll come 30 minutes before school, stay 30 minutes afterwards, and different things would stop that during the evening that we usually do but are not paid any additional for.
It's called work to contract, and it's because frozen step increases and small pay raises have teachers upset.
We just want to be heard and our concerns be heard, that we feel we're not being treated fairly.
If the teachers do take action, sporting events shouldn't be affected, but some after-school activities could be. That could include volunteer coaching, club advising, and other non-paid after-school activities.
I'm hoping they will do what's best for themselves as a profession and for the students that they work in and day out.
Superintendent Dr. William Gussner agrees the teachers' pay is among the lowest in the St. Louis area, but they can't afford more without a tax levy.
The board and the administration has very carefully been using its resources, making sure that we don't reduce class sizes and we don't cut programs, while at the same time trying to live within our means since our voters last voted for a levy or bond issue.
Several students have posted signs around town supporting the teachers. Some parents support them too.
I feel like it's a very pivotal time for the district, and things have to change now, and it has to become better now, or it's going to be a sad situation.
The teachers vote next Monday. In Webster Groves, Lisa Smith, News 4, St. Louis.
Now, Webster Groves school officials say that money is so tight this year they will need a loan to meet payroll from October through December. They say they have not done that in 3 years.
A new charter school is giving Metro East students who previously dropped out a second chance at a high school diploma. This morning in East St. Louis, the charter school opened its doors for the first time. It has a full enrollment, 100 students between the ages of 14 and 19. The school is run by Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. Now, teachers say this program is a good way for many of these youngsters to complete their education. We certainly wish them well. Today was also the first day of classes at other East St. Louis schools. Students at East St. Louis High and other schools in District 189 are back in class.
Well, the state of Illinois is doing more to provide after-school programs for its students. Today, Illinois First Lady Laura Ryan announced plans to spend $5 million on after-school activities in Illinois. Programs will take place at boys and girls clubs all across the state.
We have some beautiful weather out there, almost a fall-like day.
Yeah, Kent will let us know if the sunny skies will stick around for a while, right, Kent?
Yeah, did you feel it? Just a little bit of a nick of fall. Huh? Not quite a nip, but a nick of fall in the air today. Look at it out there right now. Partly cloudy skies and mild temperatures. Let's see if we can stretch this one out for the next 5 days.
But,
I'm Ray Preston.
I realize that people think that this is really terrible and everything, but this is the way we wanted to do this.
We'll tell you what she's talking about coming up on News 4.
Julius Hunter, Larry Connors, meteorologist Kent Earhart, and sports with Steve Savard. This is News 4 St. Louis at 6.
Well, lot of us have some kind of hobby. I mean, like collecting stamps or baseball cards. I know you're big on Beanie Babies.
Well, thanks. Only what you leave over, right? One Caseyville, Illinois woman has a very different kind of hobby. Ray Preston reports it's taking over much of her life.
You wouldn't know it from the outside, but go inside Cindy Laughlin's home.
And this is Kenya. This is khaki green. Khaki green's a military. This isn't for everybody. This is not for everybody.
And you know she's a bird lover.
We've thought this thing over a lot.
Surrounded by nearly 50 macaws, cockatoos, Amazons, each with its own personality.
Barry is lovely. Barry is absolute lover. Oh, yes.
And many with the run of the house.
And we buy a new mop every couple weeks. We buy, stop that, Clorox bleach by the case. And we try to keep it mopped up in the head of everybody.
They're just about everywhere. In the kitchen, Miss Cargo spends her days hanging out on top of the jar. Laughlin and her husband added a deck complete with baths for the birds to enjoy.
They love the sunshine.
And they love shoestrings. And just about anything you have on you, they think it belongs to them, including microphones.
So we decided to do this. No, baby, don't do that.
Some of the birds that are disagreeable have to stay in cages. The others fly free.
Because she's taking care of that for me.
Is this how they treat all your guests?
Yes, they're very.
She says she first got into birds 10 years ago. Her hobby grew. Her hubby became a bird fan as well. It wasn't always easy for her two children to deal with mom and dad's birds.
When my son was in high school, he used to tell people, they'd ask him where he lived, and he would say, just say, I live somewhere in St. Clair County.
But they're both in college now. She says they've left the nest. Just what you'd expect from Cindy Laughlin. Near Caseyville, Ray Preston, News 4, St. Louis.
Some of those birds can live up to 100 years. Laughlin says she's made arrangements in her will to prepare and take care of the birds, but she's hoping she'll be able to find a sanctuary where they can all stay together.
That's one of the most unusual stories I have ever seen here.
Ray Preston, watching that one scene, he now knows what it's like to be a statue. To some extent, we should say.
Yes. All right, Chief Meteorologist Ken Earhart is coming up next with complete details of his weather forecast.
Yeah, we're going to see if there's any rain coming in by the end of the week. Stay with us.
Well, we saw some clouds on the horizon this evening, but are they just sort of...
They're friendly clouds.
Friendly.
They are a harbinger of nice weather.
Oh, good.
And not one, but two new named tropical systems today as things are really firing up in the Atlantic. If you have interest along the eastern seaboard, you'll want to see what's happening out there. Right now, though, we'll give you this evening's outlook, and it's a beaut. Cloudy skies out there at times. We're in and out of them a little bit, but it's nice and mild. Temperatures in the 70s. A beautiful evening for a walk. I recommend that you wait until the news is over and then go enjoy a nice walk. Northwest winds this evening at about 8 to 12 miles per hour, and the Doppler radar, after all the business it did last night, is closed this evening. We don't have anything showing up in the way of rainfall out there. It's beauty out there as we look out through the arch. At the sunny skies right now, we've again been in and out of the clouds a little bit here, but expect for the most part cloudy skies overnight. 81, northwest winds at 15, and the relative humidity now at 54%. 82 and 62, the high and low for this date now. And no rainfall at the airport since midnight, but we had some last night. 74 in Kirksville, 81 at Evansville, and again here in St. Louis, Cape Girardeau's at 84, and Springfield, Missouri is 81. Our weather watchers, a network of good folks that take the time to go out and make observations for us. 78 in Vandalia now, Bowling Green at 76, Marie Skiles at 81 at her house in DeSoto, Perryville 77, and so is Potosi, while it's 83 in Lesterville. And our News 4 Gateway Aircast for tomorrow's green. Expecting good air quality tomorrow, and high pressure remaining in control. We're on the back side of this low. We told you about that yesterday, that would swing some clouds through occasionally. It's a thin, low layer of clouds, stratocumulus type clouds. And this thing's going to be kind of slow to move out, but we're going to get it into the drier air, nice and mild. Tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day with lots and lots of sunshine, no problems, and high temperatures just barely reaching into the 80s. All right, to the tropics we go, and here is the latest system right here. This one is a brand new tropical storm, and it is a threat, and eventually it may threaten the U.S. Cindy, Emily, Dennis, all of them moving toward the U.S. Dennis, the greatest threat later this week for the southeast U.S. coast, and we'll be watching these two as well. Wow, things are really active out there. Cloudy but mild this evening. Temperatures in the 70s. Northwest winds at 8 to 12 miles per hour. And it looks like we'll wake up to about 63 degrees, in and out of the clouds a little bit tomorrow, but a beautiful day, plenty of sun. The high temperature, again, just barely reaching into the low 80s. And then the rest of the week, a little bit of a warm-up, lots of sun, no rain in the forecast. A weak front, a dry front, could push through here on Saturday, perhaps increase clouds a little bit. But I don't think it's going to have enough moisture to work with to generate anything in the way of rainfall. So I'm going to give a thumbs up right now to the weekend. So far, so good.
63 for a low tomorrow night.
That'll feel good, won't it?
That will feel good. All right, thanks, Kevin.
All right, Kevin.
Organizers of both the Missouri and Illinois state fairs have good reason to celebrate tonight.
We're going to tell you why just a little later.
I'm Steve Savard. The Cardinals trade a pitcher. Rams running back Greg Hill talks about a trade and a lot more.
And this team will go to the playoffs this year. Anybody want to bet?
Hill holding court out at Rams Park today. He had a lot to say. You'll hear it next in sports.
We follow a star into the top-secret world of heroin detox. Plus, news about Dharma, Keanu, Jennifer, and Natalie Wood's daughter next on ET.
Kids will be going back to school soon. And once again, Channel 4 is teaming up with Target to collect new school supplies for needy kids. You'll earn an A for effort when you drop school supplies in the barrel at any Target store. School supplies for kids. We're for St. Louis.
So everybody likes Ricky, huh?
Everybody likes Rick. Apparently the Cardinals had seen enough of Kent, though. One guy's coming, another one's going. Maybe just coincidence, but the day after Rick Ankiel makes an impressive debut, the Cardinals trade away left-hander Kent Merker. Walt Jocketty has dealt Merker to the Boston Red Sox for 2 minor leaguers, pitcher Mike Matthews and catcher David Benham. Merker posted a 6-5 record with a 5.12 ERA this season with the Birds. The Merker-less Cardinals underway at Montreal this evening. First inning, look who's at it again, Mr. McGuire. That's a 2-run shot. It came with J.D. Drew aboard. He had reached on an infield single. That's home run number 51 for Big Mac. The Cardinals lead this one 2-0. Complete highlights coming up at 10. Running back Greg Hill has returned to the Rams after spending a week with his wife in Dallas. Now, Hill always speaks his mind, but today he was especially feisty. Doug Vaughn has the story from Rams Park.
When I got back, the thing that everybody said that they missed was the way that I smiled and always joking and laughing. So, you know, that makes me feel better.
Greg Hill has been able to smile through all of his adversity, personal and professional. When he was running through the Buffalo Bills last September, he appeared to be on the verge of becoming the Rams' feature back for the next few years, but he broke his ankle in that game and was lost for the season. That led to the Rams trading for Marshall Faulk. Hill was dropped to second on the depth chart this summer and is now the subject of trade rumors.
I'm playing behind a $40 million man. I'm in a situation to where I may possibly be getting traded, and that's probably a good thing if it happens. If it doesn't happen, it's still a good thing because I'm on a team that's going to be a playoff team this year.
Hill has been one of the vocal leaders on the Rams since coming here from Kansas City. His intensity on the practice field led to a fight with Charlie Clemens early in training camp at Macomb. But except for 2 games last season, he's been unable to show what he can do as a ball carrier. His wife's assault is the latest in a string of hard luck setbacks. Beyond the personal problems, Hill also has concerns on the playing field. He is still rehabbing the ankle he broke last year, and he has a big problem with being considered a backup to Marshall Faulk.
I will not accept being a backup. I will not stand being called a backup. I mean, that's just something that I won't allow to happen. God has blessed me with a talent, and he says that those who are with me, I will take you to the promised land. Just because you have not seen it yet doesn't mean I ain't gonna get that.
Nobody doubts Greg Hill's star appeal, but whether he'll get to the promised land in St. Louis or for fans in some other NFL city remains to be seen. Doug Vaughn, News 4 Sports.
Thank you, Doug. Saints coach Mike Ditka is having a few Maalox moments today. Defensive tackle Joe Johnson, a St. Louis native, told some reporters that he will miss the entire season with a ruptured tendon. Joe Johnson out for the season. ESPN reported that Ricky Williams is going to miss 5 weeks, 2 regular season games after suffering an ankle injury this past weekend. Well, Mike Ditka, who traded away his entire draft to get Williams, says baloney, hogwash, a couple other things we can't talk about. He says his back will miss only a couple of weeks, and he'll be ready for the season opener. Don't know if that's the truth or wishful thinking. Mike Ditka better hope that Ricky Williams is ready. Remember, he traded away his whole draft to get Ricky.
Well, so-called backups on some teams might come to the forefront of Ditka's need at this point, right?
He may be forced to.
Yeah. All right.
Well, organizers of the Missouri and Illinois State Fairs, as we told you, are celebrating what they're calling some real big successes.
Both fairs boosting their attendance this year. A record-breaking 1 million visitors attended the Illinois State Fair. Very good. That's the largest crowd since that event was shortened to just 10 days.
Now, what about Missouri?
What about Missouri?
Yeah, what about Missouri?
343,000 visitors attending the State Fair in Sedalia.
Is that an increase?
As you see here, it says up 1%.
We'll take 1%.
That's right. Organizers credit the mild weather for bringing out more fairgoers. Always great to go to the State Fair.
Yeah. You don't ever want to be a fair weather friend at a fair.
I understand.
Remember that.
That's the problem. That's the problem. I do understand that. I've been working with them way too long.
It's scary.
I hope you folks do.
You don't want to write that down?
I probably have it in a journal somewhere already.
That's it for now. Thanks for getting all the latest from us.
This is News 4, St. Louis.
Wyman Watts for St. Louis. News 4 health reporter Al Wyman is proud to be the honorary chairperson for the UNCF Walkathon this Saturday in Forest Park. If you'd like to walk with Al to help the college fund, call 241-5958. Al Wyman walks for the UNCF.
Because we're for St. Louis.